Yeah, you know what time it is. Valhalla Hour, let's go! Kick back, put on your headphones tight. Rob and Matt, bringing fire every night. From the land of 10,000 lakes, we rule the scene. With a crew so fresh, keeping it raw and clean. Minnesota Vikings, kings of the north. We wear our purple heart and let the battle roar forth. Breaking down the game, dissecting the plays. With passion so fierce, we'll set the night ablaze. So give us a follow, hit that like. Share it with your crew, you know we're about to strike. Valhalla, our podcast, living life bold, where legends are made and stories are told.
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
All right, what's up? It's another week. It's another loss. I know everybody is in a wonderful mood here. It's boy, what do you say? You know, I sat here and I worked up the most intense, in-depth analysis of the Vikings, and I want to deliver this to you guys. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
We kind of suck. That's it. No, but like for real, welcome. We got Matthew, got John here, and we got some more guests heading on. Hopefully we get some Packers fans to come on here today to discuss our upcoming matchup here in Lambeau Field in the second half of the show. So the last 2 weeks I was out. I was actually at the game in the stadium, so I was not able to make the podcast. Last week was special for me. Brought my wife up to her first tailgate and first game. Obviously she loved the tailgate. The game could have went better, you know, but it seems like if it can go wrong, it has been lately for the Vikings. There's a whole lot to unwrap here. What do you want to start with, Matthew?
I don't know. Like, I guess every fan has, different expectations going into the season. And there was a large swath of Vikings fans that were saying, like, this is a Super Bowl contending team, that if the quarterback could just be average, this team could really make a deep playoff push. I thought that we were a playoff team. I never thought that we were like a contending level team. Obviously, we went out and spent a shit ton of money in free agency to try to build this roster up, and a lot of those signings haven't panned out. Isaiah Rodgers, fantastic. Hargrave and Allen, it seems like every other week they disappear, and the next week they have a good game, then they disappear, then they have a good game. My biggest disappointment's been Mason. I feel like he hasn't really lived up to trading for and paying him. You could say it's the O-line because they've been injured, but he hasn't had the same punch he had in San Francisco last year. But
One second. Mason actually has had good times here. I mean, he hasn't had 100 yards, but
no. And he also hasn't averaged 5.3 yards per carry after contact like he did in San Francisco either, which is what I was hoping to see. And it seems like he gets swallowed up the line just as much as Aaron Jones does. I was hoping he was going to be a little bit more of a bruiser than he has been. He just hasn't really shown that. Like, if he doesn't get contacted, he's able to bust one off for 15, 20 yards. But he's getting swallowed up a lot. He's not averaging a whole lot of yards per carry, and I'm a little disappointed in that. But McCarthy's essentially a rookie. It's his first year starting. I expected growing pains. I did not expect him to miss 5 games. I was hoping that maybe he could have started every game, and then by this point of the season, he would really kind of figure it out. And in the second half, we could really make a push and kind of do something. And unfortunately, he did miss a lot of time and a lot of reps. And so that kind of development is unfortunately sticking around to the middle towards the end of the season. You don't really love to see it, but it's not unexpected. I'm not super upset. Like, you got to have a year or two of down years to develop a quarterback and build a team like Chicago did, like Detroit did, like Cincinnati did, like New England has been doing. It's not instant success. And I think because we won 14 games last year, because their defense is fucking picking everybody off, and Sam Darnold just somehow lit it up for 35 touchdowns for the first time in his career. I think we really, really over-expected what this team was going to do, and we're not doing it.
when we look at Dobbs did. Like seriously, like all these pros out there. Dobbs played good for how many games? 3,
Two.
2.5.
And he was
2.5.
barely even two. He was good for half a game for 2 games.
Exactly. Like O'Connell's gonna have to teach this quarterback how to play the game. He's a young quarterback. We took on the role of saying, "Hey, we want a young quarterback over a veteran," right?
What in the fuck is
Mm-hmm. Well, and we kind of had talked about this before the show started, and that's what I was saying is like, if Kevin O'Connell and Kwesi are going to look at Aaron Rodgers and say, thanks, no thanks, we don't want you, they're going to look at Sam Darnold and say, like, hey, we wouldn't mind having you back for a year, but we're not going to sign you for 3 years, 100 million. And same thing with Daniel Jones, like, hey, we'll offer you a 1-year deal to kind of stay here as a backup and kind of push McCarthy. And Daniel Jones decided, hey, thanks, no thanks, I want to go somewhere I can start. Then you have to fucking play McCarthy in the preseason more than 1 or 2 series through 3 games. If you have to legitimately teach him completely new fundamentals and footwork and all that shit, play him when the games don't matter. I don't want to hear this. Well, he could get injured. We see players getting injured in practice. We see players getting. It's gonna happen. If it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. He needs the fucking reps, and he should have been getting those reps in the preseason.
No, you're 100% right, and it's frustrating to an extent because we know that we have the roster in place on offense at the very least, and everything as to where we have these guys in their prime. JJ is for sure in his prime. Addison, the beginning of his prime. Hawkinson, mid to end of his prime. You know, Aaron Jones is probably past his prime, but if they would just stick with him, I mean, he's getting the yards. Jordan Mason probably still getting adjusted to the system. Interesting note, just to circle back on something you said earlier, Matthew. If Ryan Kelly suits up and replaces Blake Brandel this Sunday, this will be the first snap all year that our starting offensive line has played together.
Which is wild.
We were thinking it might have happened last week, but Blake played again. I mean, how wild is that? You know?
Yeah.
That is
Yeah, it's
wild.
what, week 11?
Yeah. Scott Gibbs says, why are you showing Minnesota Vikings fans on a Packer page? Well, because we're friends with the people that run that Packers page. Some of those Packers may come on here and discuss it. And I'm not sure if you know, but this week here is the Vikings versus the Packers in Lambeau Field. So it directly affects you guys. And
Quarter
we will
battle.
be spending the second half of this show talking about our matchup with you guys. So feel free to chime in. So, we got another couple coming here. Looks like, well, nope. All right.
Angry about us being on a Build a Packer fan.
So it says Packers are going to win big tomorrow. I think you guys will win. Here's the theory. Normally we do. We're busy bitching about these losses that we've had, and we normally do the second half of the show. We will be talking about our matchup versus you guys. When the Vikings have been said as to where people sneakily think they'll win, they thought we could beat the Ravens. It was about 50-50. A lot of people picked us against the Bears. Everybody all the way across the board is picking the Packers. See, the games the Vikings are supposed to win, I'll tell you a little something about the Vikings. They will fall flat and they will embarrass you. The games that we're supposed to get blown out, that's where you got to watch out for us. That being said, I still think that you'll probably have a good game against us, but we'll see.
Let me tell you this too, as a troll, that like I honestly think the Packers are going to beat us.
I do too. But, that's just based off what I've seen the past 2 weeks. And I've also seen the game in person in the stadium the last 2 weeks. I want to get some perspective from Eric and some more from you guys, from Matthew. You were going, you got cut off, Matthew, and everything. But, I do feel like you're correct. Jordan Mason is not that great replacement that we thought he was going to be in terms of having
He's not a Leroy Horde.
But then again, have you ever seen Kevin O'Connell get away from the run so fast like he's been doing this year? And why would you when J.J. McCarthy's your quarterback? What do you think in that context, Matthew?
I think it's a mixture of a couple things of just I've mentioned multiple times on this show how it seems when our running backs get to the line of scrimmage, they run into a wall of molasses, is the phrase I keep using. Seems like they're not able to really break through and bust off these long runs like we were hoping to get. And because McCarthy isn't great, he has been great. We've been playing from behind a lot, and you can't run it when you're down 7, when you're down 14. Unfortunately, you do have to pass it. There has been a couple times where it seems like the run game has been working and we have kind of abandoned it, and it's been a head scratcher. But I'd say probably 70% of the time it's really just A, it's not working, and B, we need to catch up and get some points on the board. And milking the clock and running the ball is not the best way to get us back into these games.
I have a question for everybody here. Okay, quick tempo. How many times have we played that with no huddle offenses, back to back to back situations? You know, where
I mean, really,
we're going out of the huddle maybe 20 seconds with the play clock.
really only in the fourth, and that's when McCarthy's been at his best, and we have to figure out how to stretch that for the first 3 quarters. We the more McCarthy thinks, the more problems we have. When he just instinctually goes and just fucking plays quarterback, he's good. But it's when he has time to think, and it just in the fourth quarter, yeah, he seems more dialed into the rest of the game, and I think it's like you said, it's because it's up tempo, and it's just hey, don't think about it, just fucking do it.
So if we were to do that in the first quarter, in the second quarter, like let's say take a series, let's play 2 series, quick tempo, then slow it down, then quick tempo again, slow it down. You know how, especially against the Packers who have a good pass rush, you can tire out their fucking pass rush right there.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at what Aaron Rodgers did when he was voted MVP, how many times did he get 12 personnel?
Right.
To answer this question on the screen here, why do Minnesota fans say skull? What does that mean? Just asking. So skull is the English version of skull, which is SKA with the 2 dots above it, L, and it's Old Norse, Norwegian, Icelandic, whatever. Loosely translated means cheers. Kind of a Viking greeting of the day.
Cheers.
Clanks and dranks.
Yes.
There you go.
So, Eric, nothing has been going right. I mean, special teams, we still can't get. Every time Miles Price does something nice, there's a holding call bringing it back.
Exactly, dude.
We
And I every week you can ask Matthew here. I've said we need to play more disciplined ball. I actually voted Price as our fucking MVP last week.
But yeah, so but Eric, so between all the blunders that we're doing, I'm starting to see as to where I don't know if KOC is overconfident in JJ McCarthy. I don't know if the special teams coordinator is overconfident in anybody playing special teams. I don't know if B-Flow is overconfident in our ability to stop people on short yardage, but it seems like not only do we have dropped passes, we can't make accurate passes. We can't stop people when we need to on third downs, and the special teams has been a letdown. We have now what looks to be coaching blunders on top of it. What's your take on all that? It's all intertwined one way or another. What's your take on it and what's going on with this? Because it's maddeningly frustrating.
Incredibly frustrating, and I think a lot of it comes down to, I think you're right, the overconfidence or or maybe complacency of we're comfortable. I don't know, but it seems like the discipline is gone. I mean, you can't have what they have against the Ravens, 8 false starts. You can't have that at home. You cannot have that at home.
8 false start penalties at home. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, and the drop passes, I think through the first 5 games, with McCarthy, there were 7 drop passes. In the last game, there was 6. So through 5, you have 7, which is about 1.6 a game. Okay, I can take 1.5 drops a game. I get it; it happens. But 6 in one game and crucial ones. Was it 3 weeks ago when Price would have had like 260 yards of all-purpose yards on returns if it wasn't for a holding call? I mean, he had like 160, but it would have been almost 250 total.
He had
It
a
just seems a
99-yard return.
Yep. Yeah, I think it's just a lack of discipline. They're just not
That was
focused
last week.
and just need to, like, I don't know. There's a fine line between a overbearing whip cracking coach and a player's coach, and I thought Flores brought that I'm an asshole to even out O'Connell's I'm the nice guy. But maybe Flores is becoming too comfortable, and there's no bad guy anymore. I hate to say it, but a coaching staff almost needs a bad guy, a guy who's gonna yell at you and grab you by the face mask and call you fucking names because you screwed up. And then you have, basically the mom and dad, the good cop, bad cop, and I think we're missing bad cop. That's just my take looking at it from the last few games. We need someone to just chew ass.
I do hear that from a lot of fans of that. Just like KOC is a little too soft, and I mean, none of us are there in the locker room. None of us are there. Like, they only show the sidelines once in a while, so we really don't know. But you can see KOC's frustration. It's like he said, Earl Small's like, "Oh, it's okay, buddy. Like, you'll get it next time." Like, he clearly looks frustrated, and the quarterbacks or the wide
Look at
receivers.
what he did.
One of the documentaries on. Wait, yeah, 1 second. One of the documentaries on Netflix. They had the video of the outside the door of the locker room after a loss, and KOC was fucking ripping the team. Like, he was giving them hell. We only see the locker room conversations after wins. We don't see him after losses. So it's hard to say if KOC is kind of like a player's coach and that's off. It could be McDaniels. I think McDaniels is way worse. Like, he doesn't seem to have a mean bone in his body. I think it's just a developing year, and some of these old injured free agents just aren't who we were hoping they would be, more so than it's the coaching being quote unquote soft.
It could be. Yeah, you're right.
1 second. Let me talk. I let every one of you guys talk.
You interrupt everybody, but yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, but at the same time, I set up
Go
for
ahead.
you.
Yep, go ahead. Yep, go ahead. Go ahead.
So you didn't see the episode where he freaking was yelling at the special teams coach?
To me, that's different. Yelling at a coach, but sometimes I think the players need that too.
I have some thoughts on that special teams coach as well.
Have the job coming into this week. I saw that. I really thought Daniels was gone after I saw the ass chewing he got.
Mm.
But he really needs to rip out the fucking offensive line coach.
He needs to go.
Yeah.
But the special teams coach's comment. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go.
The special teams coach's comments after that kick return last week is what really put me off on him, where he took zero accountability. He's just like, "Oh, as soon as I saw that, like, my players suck." I knew it. It's like, well, it's your fucking job to have them ready. Like, that's on you, man.
And I get what you guys have said too, that if we kick it through the freaking end of the end zone, they get a start at the 35. There's 53 seconds left. If they're in a hurry up and they're hitting on a hot streak, throwing, running, everything else, it's not like they're back on the 20. I get that, but just knowing the way special teams has been going, I mean, the percentage that he would have had a huge run back into our territory, exactly like he did, it was pretty high, because that game special teams couldn't do anything but fuck up. I mean, they couldn't do anything but fuck up in the Ravens game too. I think you had a higher percentage, and you give your defense more yards and more opportunities just booting that fucker out of the end zone. Because the way shit was going all game long, if it could happen and it was bad, it was going to. So
I mean,
I heard this. What's the ranking on our special teams? when it comes to returns.
What now?
I mean, we had problems with returns going back to preseason with what's his name, Tim Jones, who we brought in to be a special teams ace, got holding calls on every game in preseason,
Absolutely.
and now it's just a random player every kickoff. It's a random player with a hold or a block in the back or ineligible formation because they moved too soon on the kickoff or whatever it may be. It just seems so random that it's not one player, but it's hard to fix it when if it's the same player over and over again. It's an easy fix.
We're 31st in the actual kickoff stuff. Other than our, we have a good punt return thing. We have a good when he kicks the field goals and onsides, whatever. But we're first in the kickoff shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and
there's no penalties. You get great returns. I mean, just the penalties when they happen really put us in a bind.
Yeah. And they had kind of said this like during the game too, when there was we had 55 seconds for in scoring position. They're like, this could be a too much time for Teddy situation, giving the ball back to Caleb Williams with how their offense is firing towards the end of the game. You might want to milk some of that clock down, but at the same time, the Vikings were struggling so hardcore to put points on the board. It's like, well, you need to get the fucking touchdown however you can get it. Should we have ran the ball one more time and milked maybe 15, 20 seconds off that clock? Yeah, we probably should have. But at the same time, we also needed to get points on the board, and we got that Addison touchdown late, which helped save my fantasy week. Thank you, Addison. But it's like it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. If we run it and then you milk the clock down 30 seconds, but then you don't get that touchdown, it's all for naught. We get the touchdown, we do go up by 1 point, but then you're giving the ball back to Chicago. It's just it sucked. It sucked.
I mean, I had questions from the very get-go when we elected to receive the ball. So,
yeah, always kick it. Get the ball at the half.
We and
yeah, always. Oh, I don't understand that.
Being a divisional team, I mean, that was our first divisional. As much as stuff has gotten away from the Vikings and went sideways this year, we were undefeated in the division until then. I mean, and I get it. Once every 3 to 4 years, it's nice to let the Bears beat us, but I mean, it would have been nice. So, I mean, we had won 9 out of the past 10 against them. So it's like, come on, we were right there too. And see, this is what bothers me about going into Green Bay. And we're maybe 5 minutes early on jumping on this topic here, and I'm sure we're not done bitching about stuff that's went wrong, and we haven't even really scratched the surface of KJ McCarthy. But the Packers, like us, are not playing particularly impressive football, but they're pulling the wins out at the end, whereas we are finding a way to either not or blatantly beat ourselves because of stupidity on the part of players, coaching, play calling, or a combination of all the above. And that's why I'm a little bit pessimistic on this shit. But before we get into what do you do when you're going into one of the most hostile places that we play every year, I do want to touch on McCarthy, and I want to go around the horn. I want to go in order the way I see it clockwise with Matthew, then Jonathan, then Eric, and just let you guys talk on what your feelings are. And then if you think you've seen improvement, what realistic expectations are for a guy that's only 6 games in or 5 games in, whatever, and what we should be realistically expecting moving forward, because obviously I do not believe that we're going to win the rest of our games and make the playoffs at this point. So we need to start looking towards what are we looking to get out of this guy. And I want to start with Matthew. When Matthew's done, then Jonathan, then Eric.
So I've kind of basically already hit all these points, so I'll keep mine short and sweet. It's been 5 games. I think he has shown improvement. When his season first started, it looked like he was kind of a first-rate quarterback. You're seeing him make his reads now. He's scanning the field. Um, the things that he needs to fix are things that are coachable. You can't coach mentality. You can't coach leadership. You can coach footwork and you can coach mechanics, and that's where he's lacking. So I'm not super worried about that. Um, like I said, if he's been completely inept, it's like, oh shit. But in the first Chicago game against Detroit, like he's had games where he's shown like he can make these throws. He like you have these offensive linemen and these skill position players saying like, "Hey, we're in the huddle." Like he's getting us. Like he's a good leader, and the team has his back. He's a first-year starter through 5 games. Like we've all seen the memes of like Drake May's first 5 games, Bo Nix's first 5 games. They weren't fucking stellar numbers, but when you see
What
what he
about
did
Caleb
versus
Williams?
Chicago,
Oh,
okay, yeah. But so when you see what he did versus Chicago, though, where in the first series he's missing these wide open throws, you go, you know what? First series, division game, jitters, it's fine. But when it's carrying over to the third quarter, it's like, okay, you need to start fucking hitting these passes. If it's 11 starts and we're still seeing these, then it's like, okay, what the fuck are we doing here? But through 5 games, I'm not hitting the panic button quite yet.
Right. Okay, John, your thoughts on JJ and the entire situation so far in context and what you expect moving forward.
okay. Ask me in 3 years how he is, because honestly, it's way too early to talk. After week 5, I love what I see out of him. He has made mistakes. Can he learn from those mistakes? He has mechanical mistakes. Yes, I'll agree with you there. But he's had that all along. It's not the footwork that's the issue, though. It's the hip work. He needs to work on his hips and how he throws the ball, because and he has to work on his touch.
Yeah. So, John, what one thing that these guys are instantly going to understand because they're former military, you might not, but when you are learning how to qualify on an M16 or nowadays it's an M4 carbine for the U.S. Army, one of the biggest things that gets people is sight picture. Because what you have is you have a post at the end and you have a circle on the back, and you have something that's going to end up looking like this. You have to maintain the same sight picture every time when you're shooting, and it's something you have to develop and learn. You're going to be all over your target if you don't have the same sight picture. Same thing with the quarterback. He has to be consistent on his drop backs of how he has his feet, his hips, and how he is set, distance with his legs and everything, in order to have the same result on the same pass, let's say 25 times in a row. If he's coming back and he's staggered out or sitting there all different every single time, that ball is going to go different places every single time too. And that's a thing. And KOC has said that's something they are really, really working on with him. And he said he's starting to see some improvement, but when you have the stress of the game, when you've got big 350-pound guys trying to crush you that have broken through the offensive line and everything, shit gets sideways. I'm looking to see a little bit better decision-making, I guess. But then again, what do you expect from a guy that played 5 games? So.
Right. And Eric, before you go, if you don't mind if I expand on that, because when I was in basic training, I had never shot a gun before I joined the military. And my drill sergeant in our first qualifications, like, that's awesome because I could teach someone who's never shot a gun. It's a lot harder to teach someone who was taught the wrong things and having to strip them from the wrong things and rebuild them up. And unfortunately, that's what we're having to do with McCarthy because he's played quarterback before. So you're having to strip all these bad flaws and rebuild him versus just teaching him the correct things from the ground up. And it's not to say that it can't be done. It just takes a little longer.
Yeah. Eric,
So
what do you
to start off, I'm going to say, as a former drill sergeant, that is exactly what we like, is someone who doesn't know what they're doing. So I get that. yeah, his touch is one of the biggest things I'd like to see improvement on. There were a couple passes last week that were drops that if he would have just layered them in there, a little bit of float, not a lot, they would have been perfect balls. And I think that's something he'll learn with experience of when to throw the fastball and when to float a knuckleballer, so to speak. Some with less speed on it. Not really a knuckleball because that'd be hard to catch too. But I noticed, I noticed in the Bears game, his footwork was a little off. He was getting wide in his prep, so he couldn't get a good step into it. And now I know a couple times, like Fries was in his face getting pushed back. But I think it's just a matter of the experience and coming together all at the same time. His footwork looks good, but his arm, he's not throwing right. He's not getting through progressions, but everything else looks good. And part of it too, I think, is it. I don't know if it like that first Bears game when he scored that touchdown rushing. He looked aggressive and like he wanted to run. The last couple of games, there's been opportunities for him to take off, and he's felt it looked like he was very tentative. Like, I can't afford to get another injury, or I'm going to be labeled as injury prone. That type of thing. It's probably not in the forefront, but probably in the back of his mind.
In my opinion, Eric, he's already injury prone.
I wouldn't go that far yet. If it was back season ending injuries, I would say yeah. But high ankle sprain is a tough one for anybody. But if it happens again next year where he misses 5 to 6 games, then the label's on for sure. But I think it's a matter of just he's got the confidence to run the offense, but the confidence in himself might not always be there. And I think just the learning curve, he's got to learn to put it all together.
Yeah. I mean, he's no more injury prone than Burrow. I mean, Laporta's got a second season ending injury. Shit happens.
Yeah, and
Burrow's injury prone.
Yeah, Burrow is definitely injury prone. I wish we would have had him on our team, though. Being real.
He doesn't want a ring. He has Jamar Chase and Higgins. He hasn't done shit.
Yeah. So we are in the second half of our show. It is time to talk about the Packers game. I got to step away for about 2 minutes. I will turn this over to Matthew. Go ahead and let's launch. Let's launch the biggest week of the year, Packer Week at Lambeau. Go for it.
I have a lot to say about Green Bay, and I'm not going to be ridiculous and say that they're a bad team. They're second in the division. They're 6-3-1 or whatever the fuck their record is because of that tie. But they're talking a lot of shit, guaranteeing a win for a team that lost to Carolina, lost the week after that to Philly, and then struggled versus Jameis Winston with the 28th ranked Giants defense. Jordan Love had 2 straight weeks with 0 touchdowns. He had 2 touchdowns last week against the Giants.
Tie with Cowboys.
Anyways, so he had 2 touchdowns last week against the 28th ranked defense Giants. And they're actually, as far as I know, I don't think Jacobs is going to be playing this week. I think he's injured. There's 2 players on the Packers that scare me, and that's Parsons and McKinney. Jordan Love is he's so hot and so cold, and he throws up these fucking hero balls that maybe Christian Watson can come down with, maybe Dobbs can come down with. I think this is going to be one of those games where we've struggled to see our defense turn the ball over. I think tomorrow with Jordan Love's style of play is one of those games where our defense might get a couple picks for sure. What I know, and Packers fans are going to jump in here and say, Love only has 3 picks. Yeah, great. I just think tomorrow's going to be one of those games where the defense is really going to show up. And yeah, they have a better record than us, but the Baltimore game, the Pittsburgh game, the Bears game, these are all games that 2 or 3 plays, we're winning these games. And so I don't think that difference is really there, that the Packers are such a better team. I think it's really a 50-50 game.
I really think our defense is going to be the difference. And be honest with you, our defense is way better. And if we can play quick tempo offense against them, we'll win.
Yeah.
No huddle, like get out there with like 20 seconds on the play clock. So we can do those cadences that throw off defenses.
Mm-hmm.
I think we'll win if we do
You
that.
know, I like. Oh,
I'm
yeah,
quiet. Go
I
ahead.
agree 100% because you look at that opening drive in the Ravens game. We walked down the field and then just stopped after that. Like there,
Yeah.
no doubt in my mind that opening drive in the Ravens game, we were going to blow them out. The way that we played in that opening drive, there's no reason we shouldn't have blown them out. And then our offense
Yeah.
just sputtered. Like I don't know what. And you know you look at it as every game starts with a script. These are our first 10 plays. This is what we're going to do. You know, and it varies a little bit if there's a an audible at the line or there's an obvious blue. I get it, but maybe at the first drive these are our first 5 fucking plays. This is what we're gonna do. And I think we need to allow him to play against the Packers. Do it. It seems to have extra fire. He may fire up, and hopefully not too fired up throwing fastballs. But the offense can go. I think you're right. Our defense, minus our secondary, is 100% better than theirs. Even with Micah Parsons, I think our defense is way better. And you know, I don't know. I didn't see the injury report because I was on fire all day yesterday, so I didn't get to see the final injury report. But I shared it in our group chat. I couldn't screenshot their entire injury into this. They had like 8 players listed out on Tuesday. What the? And so, like I said, I haven't seen it since, but it was like 4 wide receivers. You know, 2
the Packers injury
linebackers,
report's
2
pretty
corners.
extensive.
Like it was an amazing list. Yeah,
I'm looking it
so
up right now.
I mean, we caught him maybe at a good time, and but you know, Matthew, you said that they barely beat the Giants with the Jameis Winston. I mean, he was quintessential Jameis throwing a pick to end the game when he could have won it.
Right.
But yeah, they lost to Cleveland as well. You know, they haven't beat phenomenal teams. They've lost the teams they should have beat, just like us. So they're not that. Take the record out of it. They're not that much better than us. If you look at pure who we should have beaten and who we shouldn't have beat, and I think we go in with a fighting chance. I think it's within 6 points either way coming out of this game.
Injury report outside, and the last one that the Vikings listed was Thursdays, and that's pretty typical or whatever. Ryan Kelly was full, Aaron Jones was full, Jonathan Gennard was limited, Will Fries is limited, Darisaw went from full to did not participate, which tells me it's a rest.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like we might be close to 100%, the best that we've been all season long, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
The McGlove, DJ McGlove, or whatever, McGlover, Dwight McGlover,
Gotham, Nudie,
yeah.
Nudie.
I'm not happy about the fact that that happened either.
We cut him for Kelly to make the spot. I'm not happy either because that's the spot we need.
Yeah.
Murph,
especially with
appointment all season.
Yeah. Well, especially with players like Natalis just being absolutely fucking non-existent.
Yeah, it's as much as we played 2 standard last year. I really think a lot of these guys have just underachieved this year, and I don't know
100%.
what the thing is because it isn't just one guy; it's like a bunch of them. But Eric made some interesting points, and I want to circle back with my theory on just a couple of them. Eric brought up the great thing. It seems like when we're on script, when everything's scripted and everything, we can move, we can go and everything. As soon as we go off script and it's playing the dapt and you get into the chess match part of the game, right? That's where we just stall out and we struggle. I might have said this a couple weeks ago, but I'm going to say it again. What I'm seeing is JJ McCarthy is not ready for this style of play action play because when he goes back and turns his back, especially when he turns, and he'll always turn to the strong side. And when he turns around, if it's going to be a pass, that guy's on his butt right away. They need to stop doing that. He is not ready for that style yet. He needs to take some shotgun. He needs to take some straight drop backs and everything where he's got full visibility. Stop trying to be so fancy after 5 to 6 games in and everything. So he has visibility because, Micah Parsons isn't just going to line up against Darisaw to give us a fighting chance. They're going to be moving his ass around. They're going to be exploiting the weaknesses of the offensive line with that guy, and they got a couple other pretty decent guys out there too that can collapse an O-line. The struggling that has and everything going off script is because all this play action shit where his back is turned, and by the time he turns around, he does not have time to set. He does not have time to mentally think about those mechanics of what they've been working on with the feet, the hips, the body positioning, everything else. And that's why he's sailing throws. That's why he's missing these 90% or higher, high percentage completions. It's like, the crowd boos, and it's like, what the fuck? Who misses that? Well, he's not. We're setting him up for failure when we're doing all this play action shit. I think you need to establish the run because I think you can run on Green Bay, and we got 2 guys that can do it. But I also think you're not doing J.J. McCarthy any favors when you're trying to get too fancy. Kevin O'Connell's asking him to run an offense for a third-year man. And we're forgetting that while he is a second-year man, he still only played like 5 or 6 games. I cannot believe we're still doing this. That's my theory. I think if we continue doing this, and O'Connell is insisting this is the offense, he's getting better every week, blah, blah, blah. I still think things are going to look pretty putrid because that first 3 quarters of Bears game, JJ looked pretty putrid. And then when they stopped doing that and you started just getting into, Winkleman brought it up earlier, doing some hurry up or whatever, you're not doing that fancy shit. You're just doing some straight drops. You're getting some quick hits. I think we need to start with that.
Yeah, I'm going to be equally ripping KOC and equally defending him here. Every week when we lose, it's, well, our play calling sucks. KOC needs to give up the play calling and hand it over to Wes Phillips. Our receivers are fucking getting, like, what did we said all last week against Chicago? Is our receivers were wide open on these plays, but McCarthy's missing them. So the plays that are being drawn up are working. It's not the play calling. The plays are working. Our receivers are getting open. The issue is like you said, he's pretending like McCarthy's a third-year vet who's able to make these plays, and he's just not. Now, how easy is it? We said all offseason, like, well, the one benefit to McCarthy sitting last year was he was able to learn the playbook, and he was able to get in McCarthy, or he was able to get in KOC's head and Jefferson's head, and he was able to, like, mentally playbook. He's got it down. He just needs to translate it to the field. How can you? Oh, it's not working. Let's completely get rid of that entire year of learning that playbook and dial up these new short, like, quick passing plays. I don't think it's as easy as just scrapping what the offense has learned for the last year and a half. And it's just something that, again, it's going to need to be growing pains.
Yeah.
So, Matthew,
with the short passing game, though, we should have dialed that in all preseason anyway, because you look at the games we lost last year, especially the last 2 out, and we could have used some slants. I don't know. I don't know what like let Jefferson and Addison run some quick slants and get the yards after the catch and see what they can do. That may open up the run game. That may open up some deep passes where they can't blitz right away. We saw it, especially in that Rams game in the playoffs. We didn't stand a chance. And all we had to try to, and I hate dink and dunk football, but it helps open up further down the field if you just throw some quick or a little different than quick slants. So maybe that's something they should have put in sooner.
For sure.
What about a halfback smash? What about a wide receiver reverse? What about screen pass? Like,
Yeah, but those are plays that, like, if they work, that's great. But then if they get blown up and you're taking a 3-yard loss on first down because you're trying to make these cutesy, like, end around screen passes where you toss it to
okay, so we're
JJ, toss
throwing
it
the
to.
ball 50 times with a QB
We've
that doesn't
now.
have any experience.
Can you show me one game where McCarthy's thrown the ball 50 times?
Attempts?
Yeah.
I can.
Okay. Which one?
You really want to know?
I'm asking.
Yeah.
Which game did he have 50 attempts?
I think there was one where I think he had 42. That was the most, I
45
think.
to 50
In,
attempts in some of these games, dude.
I think 40.
He's averaging like 20 to 30 attempts. His first 3 starts, he barely had 22 attempts each game.
Okay, first 3 starts. Now,
He's only had 5 starts.
give me a second.
He's had one game with over 40 attempts. You're acting like he's throwing the ball 50 times a game. That's just not a reality.
Right. And the thing, I agree, you know, on these high completion things, you know, if you're trying to do a quick screen, everything else, that gets blown up. You're taking loss of yardage and everything. They need to simplify it. They need to keep the ball on the ground and get good running yards on first and second down. And then what I am going to say is, and I've been saying this all year, between Addison, Naylor, and Hawkinson, they need to start throwing that fucking slant over the middle. It's right in the middle.
Dude, he averages
He doesn't need to use
45
his
fucking attempts a game.
He doesn't need
There's
to use
zero chance.
all that other stuff. Get those slants put back in the playbook.
Yeah.
I mean, he can hit those. All this
Yeah.
other bullshit that we're trying to do is just, I mean, he's not getting it.
I mean, you're right. We knocked on Kirk for being a dink and dunk quarterback because he was a fucking 10-year vet and he had a strong arm and he was a really good quarterback. But with McCarthy, I think the Vikings fans would give him a pass for a year of being a dink and dunk quarterback. I don't think anybody would take it personally.
Right.
What's going on, Sarah?
Oh, Sarah's, I'm sure.
What's up?
I'm sure Sarah's definitely got some things to say about this.
She's screaming at her computer right now.
So, looking back, Chicago 32 attempts, Baltimore 42 attempts, Detroit 25 attempts, Atlanta 21 attempts, and Chicago 20 attempps.
So not averaging 42 attempts a game?
Only one game over 40, one game,
Dude,
2 games over 40, 30. So
he had 45 attempts against Baltimore.
Yeah, you said he's averaging 42 attempts a game. In 3 of the starts, he's averaging
I didn't
42
say that. I said I thought he fucking was throwing 50 times.
Not even close. Hasn't even touched 50. Not
Yeah, I
one
know.
game.
After I looked at the stats.
Yeah. Because that was the knock through his first 3 starts is like, oh, he's only throwing the ball 20, 23 times a game because that's all he did in college. He was just a handoff guy and he only had to throw on 3rd and long, which was kind of like, so going back to like.
But at the same time, dude, that's way too much.
22 times a game?
45?
He's only thrown 42 once. He just read off the stats. It was 42, 35, and then the rest were in the low 20s.
Okay, so 45 was his attempts against Baltimore, dude.
that's
one game.
The average is
One
28
game, yeah.
game.
But you just said the most he's thrown was 42.
That's the average.
Anyways,
yeah.
so like I was
28
saying,
per game. That's the average.
28 per game, the average.
Okay, yeah. 42 per game. That's the average.
28 per game, not 42.
No, 28.
Anyways, He's averaging 28
42.
attempts per game, John.
28 per game.
28 per game. And
140 attempts over 5 games.
The interceptions, I think, also is what's killing him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he acknowledged that. He said that in his last press conference, is saying, like, I need to, as a quarterback, understand, like, I don't need to play hero ball and get the yards or the ball 30 yards downfield. I need to just take what's easy and given to me. Now, obviously, talk is cheap and you got to put it on the field, but hopefully he can internalize that in some of these ones where we even said it last year with Darnold. It's like, well, why are you chucking it 30 yards downfield to Hawkinson when you got Jones right there 5 yards out wide open who can at least get some type of positive yardage? And we'll see if we can do that. But like I was about to say, is my thing with McCarthy, what I was really hoping to see was in Michigan when it was 3rd and 7+. He was one of the best. He was better than May. He was better than Bo Nix. He was top 2 in almost all these stats of yards per attempt, completion percentage, first down conversion. And it's like that's what a quarterback has to be a quarterback, where it's not just taking dunk, it's not just handing the ball off, and he was able to get it done. And unfortunately, we just haven't been able to see that translate to the NFL yet. And hopefully he can get there.
Yeah,
in his defense too, that offensive line scuffle, shuffle, dink, replace here and there hasn't helped him with his growth. Now, it's not a great excuse because next man up mentality should be there. But man, when you're starting Justin School on the outside and then starting him, at left tackle for 2 games and right tackle for 2 games, and Ryan Kelly's out and Donovan Jack, it doesn't help. The biggest thing I've noticed in the Bears game was as soon as he would start getting some rhythm, it'd be a penalty or a bad throw or a drop pass. As soon as the rhythm would start, something would go wrong, and it would throw all the rhythm off. And I think that's been a huge factor this year with the whole team is, we get some rhythm, we get some momentum, and then, Hawkinson drops a 5-yard pass on 3rd and 4. Well, now we got a punt. There goes all our momentum. It's and I think that hurts his growth as well.
We were talking about this earlier. Like the special teams is the issue.
Well, I just have one more point to make, and then I'll kind of step back for the rest of the show. But how much of this too is just our constant roster turnover? Like between year 1 and 3 of KOC and Kwesi, we replaced 95% of our roster. And then last year, we got rid of a ton of free agents and brought in a ton of new free agents. How much of this is just chemistry? Of just, hey, maybe if we had this, it's the same thing with my thing with the Timberwolves. You got to have the same team for 2 or 3 years to fucking learn and build together. If you're constantly replacing 10 players every year, you're not getting that chemistry. You're not developing that team camaraderie. Like we need to have the same roster year in and year out for a couple of years to really get these players to gel and sync and not have these mistakes and not have these communication errors.
We need to draft better. That's how you keep a team that has a roster that has some continuity to it.
Yes.
When we're playing the free agent game, you're going to have some hits like Van Ginkel and Bernard. You're going to have a butt ton of misses too, like Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave. And that's why we're sitting.
I think Hargrave was a hit, but Allen wasn't.
Which sucks because Allen's contract's the harder one to get out of.
The consistency. I think Allen's is. No, no. I think Hargraves might be. I just read an article now.
And Kelly is another one of those contracts
his is easy to get out
of. Outside of the money factor, with Kelly, I feel a little bit better because we just found out that Blake Brandel can play center, and I don't even think the coaches knew that until he had to do it.
Well, and if I'm not mistaken, we could cut Kelly for only $5 million in dead cap.
I'd have to do some.
I thought it was zero.
I think that's more fair.
Yeah.
So we have a question posed to us by Barry here. So if the Vikings lose, is your season over? I don't feel the Vikings are making the playoffs the way it is, anyways. Even if we win, because we'd almost have to win out, Barry. I don't know. You guys got a different opinion on that?
I think if the Packers lose, their season's over.
I think the Packers lose, their season's over. Our seasons are already over.
For
I
all intents and purposes,
would say it's over for championship aspirations. I wouldn't say our season's over. I would say it becomes a developmental or it's more of a what can we learn season. So it's not. I wouldn't say it's over as far as there's nothing we can gain from it. But I think there's a chance
I
to
don't
like
think we're going to make the
JJ's
playoffs.
growth. You know, to
But
me, Fries
can learn.
was a bad investment, and you know, but there's things that can come of this season. Yes, playoffs and championship aspirations may be over, but there's positives still to come from the season.
Yeah, I mean the Packers went out and spent $47 million on Micah Parsons. They gave Jordan Love $55 million a year. Packers fans were talking about how they were a Super Bowl contending team, and right now they're fighting the Bears for the division. If the Packers lose to us tomorrow, Detroit and Chicago both win, and the Packers drop to third place, I think they really like the Vikings expected to have a developing season because again our free agents are old and McCarthy's essentially a rookie. The Packers spent a lot of fucking money to be a win now team. If they don't win tomorrow, I think the Packers really need to do some soul searching.
If you look at the contract breakdown, don't go to Over the Cap a website because that's for morons. Go to Spotrac and look at the breakdown of what the Packers are paying out for Micah Parsons. It will blow your fucking mind. I'm not kidding. That when I first looked at that, I was like, what in the hell? That's some impressive dedication right there to a player. So, you know, for all intents and purposes, and I thought many years ago when the Vikings went all in on Jared Allen that as much as I was excited to have him, I hope this guy never even gets a paper cut on his little finger or whatever. He can't play. We are so fucked. That's a hell of a thing for Green Bay to swallow, and it will affect other areas of their game and handicap them as other contracts come due in terms of trying to retain good players they want to keep and whatever. So
they should have thrown that money at Myles Garrett.
I can't believe they didn't. I figured he would have kind of fit in better on that than what Micah Parsons would have. But I mean, not to distract from Micah Parsons because he is one hell of a player. But I mean, there's an awful lot going on.
Micah Parsons can play both linebacker and edge.
Well, we are almost out of time. We have 3 minutes left. I want to go around and let you guys get your closing thoughts in. So we'll start with Winkleman. What's your closing thoughts today?
My closing thoughts are give me the highest pick we can get so I can get Caleb down in the first round.
All right. Eric?
We're as healthy as we could have been all season, I think. So we're on a positive note. So I think we go in and we make this game hell bad the Packers don't expect.
Right. Matthew?
Yeah, I don't know. McCarthy seems to turn it on versus division opponents, and I feel like we just somehow, like the Wolves this year, play better on the road than we are at home. So I'm cautiously optimistic going into tomorrow. I think it'll be a 3 or 4 point game either way. We'll see which McCarthy we get. Hopefully he has one of those 3 touchdown games. If not, it's going to be a long season. But like Winkleman said, I also wouldn't be upset with having a high draft pick.
Yeah. So we'll close out with this. I got 1 minute left. Low scoring. Yes, definitely. So we'll see you guys next week, and try not to get too drunk watching the Vikings. Skol.
Yeah, yo, it's game time. Ain't no messing around. Huddle Sports Network, the best in town. From NFL rumors to the latest trends, we got all your sports. Just tune in, my friends. Catch us on Roku, Fire Stick, take your pick. Facebook, YouTube, where the action's slick. Daily shows that drop like a bomb. From 10 to 11, it's Ken and Ken. Stay calm. Huddle up, catch the vibe, feel the rush. Get your news, get your fills in the clutch. Over 27 Palmcasts, we breaking it down. Join the team, Huddle Sports, wear the crown. Live every weekday, it's how we roll. Lions Talk with Jeremy B, we taking a stroll. From 11 to 12, don't miss a beat. We break down the game, make the info sweet. The Daily Huddle Podcast, noon to 1. CST Zone, we're just having fun. Toss your doubts, we bring the facts. Tune into the Huddle.